Right then, so back onto the Amarok. This has ended up being things done in a little bit different order to what I expected. I did want to have the water injection on this prior to having the big turbo on, the 2872, but we've ended up not being able to do that, so we're waiting for some machine parts to come. But anyway, as you can see, we've got the bottle here, so this is about 4 litres, something like 5 litres. That we put the 50-50 water methanol mixture in there. I don't like running any more than 50%. You can run less than 50 if you want to. Ideally some deionized water or whatever, or reverse osmosis water, so it's got no crap in it. You don't want any lime scale plugging everything up. So for this, we've made a nice little bracket that it relocates some stuff underneath that normally goes here, and then that shoves in onto your airbox and bolts on. So we'll be offering them out, whether they're on before this video goes out, I'm not too sure, but that'll be the Amarok specific kit. The pump's mounted behind the bumper, which you can't see it, but Danny's got a picture, so we'll put that in. That's quite neat. So then the pipe comes off the pump through here into this one-way check valve, so that's going to stop it bleeding off and leaking back. So once it's bled up, in theory, up to at least here, you should have all your pressurised water in it ready to rock. Then down to your nozzle, which this has got the number 6 nozzle in there, so it's the bigger one then that comes with the kit, so you have to purchase that separately. And then for this kit, we've decided to, for this car, or this engine should I say, not just for the Amarok, but for this engine, this is where the swirl flap actuator lives. And when you're tuning them, they do some very weird stuff when the swirl flaps are in. So we like to get rid of them if we can. Then you know it's just stuck open all the time. You can have a bit of trouble with deleting fault codes for these, so you've got to be very careful. That's why we keep an eye on exhaust manifold pressure, because that's generally what gets affected when all this starts happening. Your boost pressure stays the same, but your flaps are doing some weird stuff, and nobody likes flaps that do weird stuff. So this is here to allow the nozzle to just go straight into, it's a bolt-on job, no drilling and tapping. And also then it's got a tapping in there for the boost takeoff. So you could, if you wanted to, you can tee this in and run a gauge off it as well. But what we've got, that's going down to the switch, which is just nearer to Danny than it is to me, and that's just tied there out it way. So that is the activation switch. There's a bit of wiring and stuff in there. So inside, it's not in there yet, so I don't know whether we'll put a picture in when it's done, depending when this goes out, but there's a switch and some LEDs inside. The yellow LED is for the level sensor, which is here, and then the green one is when it's activated, which when we're in the car, we'll have a look at that. And then what we did do, we got a factory switch coming, that were going to be the activation, rather than having just a normal flick switch on. But to be fair, Owen cried while they were doing that, because he'd rather have just a normal switch and a normal LED, and then he could just put them wherever he wanted to, rather than have to faff about running wires all over the car. But it is what it is. So this has been on there. Obviously the turbo's been on there a little bit, got it dialed in nicely. The only thing left to do is look at what power we've made, and then have a look what that actually translates to on the road. So last time it were on the dyno with this turbo, we showed we got a sort of fairly aggressive tune, and that did 406 horsepower and what we're doing here, 630-ish foot-pound, 625 maybe foot-pound. Nice spread all along, but this were getting a little bit too hot. I think you might get away with it, and I'm pretty sure other tuners would just leave it that aggressive and consider it done. And they'll probably tell you got 450 horsepower with all stupid dyno figures that people keep telling us they've got. If anybody else has got a tune and they think they've got more power than what we're saying we've had at any stage on this, you can have a free dyno, and if you drive to us, put it on, and we'll not pull any tricks. If it does the power, we'll tell you. If it doesn't do the power, then you're going to have to go around telling everybody that you've got a dyno graph from somebody else and forget you ever came. So that 406, a bit too aggressive for my liking, so we turned that down and we've just run it today and it's done the same again, which 391.6, which it's not often you get them exact, but it has. So that's just on the diesel only. And then just turning the methanol on, which I'll make this a bit easier to see. I'll just get rid of that one because that, remove that. So that's the difference in the water injection and diesel only. So not quite sure, there's a bit of a start speed difference here, so that's probably explaining why torque looks a little bit lazier than it is. But don't worry too much about that. It's the peak we're normally looking for here. So we've got a good, probably 25 foot-pound of torque more all the way to 3800. So that's a decent, that's generally, that's where you're going to be driving this. It's going to be a fair chunk of the usable power band, and then a fair amount up top as well. So what, another 25-30 horsepower, 25-30 foot-pound of torque at the top end as well. So you probably won't use that as much, but if you're thrashing it, you will be. So really happy with them gains, sort of 13-14 horsepower from water injection. I think you could probably get a little bit more at it. I wouldn't want to run a bigger nozzle than that. I think that's a nozzle, it's not going to last forever if you put too much through it. So I think good gains. Whether that's going to make much difference on the road, we'll have to see, but I think it's going to be like fractions of a second, like not even tenths, probably hundredths of a second. So we'll see what the figures it does, and we'll go from there. So we'll get it ripped off and get on road. We're out in the Amarok, and as usual, as you can see, things have changed, but as usual I do what I normally do, straight out in it, don't even drive it before I start filming, start talking, and then I realise I'm not happy. So we're filming this for the second time, and it's not often we do that. I absolutely hate repeating myself. So we got it off the dyno when we done the power that we did, which it were a few days ago when we did that, but only a few minutes ago for you watching. It drove nice when you were cruising round, happy with everything. A little bit more smoke than I wanted it to have. Only a bit, just a little haze of smoke. Weren't really happy with that, so I wanted to work on that. But the main thing was just a 0 to 30 mile an hour. It just didn't really give it a big kick, but that was a twofold problem really. The bigger turbo, and then not wanting to overspeed the turbo and overboost it, make it blow its centre bits. That was, we'd soften things down quite a bit in the tuning at the low RPM, and that's what were killing the sort of 0 to 30 response. So we decided it'd be a good idea, do some proper tuning on it, on the road, get it to where I want to get it, because this customer's focus is launching it. He wants to launch it. He wanted a 4.5 second to 60 car, which it's not going to be possible with some of the weighs this much. I don't think you need a hell of a lot more than 400 horsepower to get that. But obviously that was his request. We've already spent tons of time on this. We might as well spend some more time on it. It's irrelevant. So we've managed to what I'm told is improve it, but I've not gone crazy in this yet, and I've still got the computer in it that I'm logging it to see what it's doing. So I'll just press start on that. We're on. And I am still trying to keep an eye on keep an eye on this gauge as well. I think what we'll do a launch first, because I could be talking about how fast it is and what it's doing and what it ain't doing. It don't make any difference. So what was that? Can't see it. Need to get the performance box touch on there that I can see, but that was 4.9 to 60, so that's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. You could feel it was tons quicker. I still think we could change shift speeds a little bit at times, but not make a massive difference. But yeah, that's like ridiculous. Definitely worth the effort. I don't think the tuners will say so. Full week of messing about trying to get it to where we want to get it, but the customer has to be happy, especially he's lent us this car for a long time, so it's the least we could do is do everything as perfectly as possible. Usually you've got it the other way around, where people are sat in reception waiting for the car, so you don't want to spend too long tweaking away. You just get the power, get it to drive nice, and usually home time. Yeah, really happy with that. But we always do another run on the way back down, so we'll verify things. So this is without the water injection on there, so we're just under 400 horsepower now. I don't think it's going to make a massive difference putting the water injection on. Definitely not to the 0 to 60 time. Probably further up in the speeds it might make a bit of a difference, but let's see what it does. It's 4.8 that time. This is ridiculous. That is quick and drives really nice. Changing gear nice. Definitely it launches better. Now we've not had to put it into that off-road mode and all this kind of, and it does feel like it, at least when you're driving it normally. But yeah, it drives. Just keep an eye on these exhaust pressures. They're not bad at all. So smoke-wise, I don't know if you can see it with that camera, but not really any pooping out at back at all. It's good. We'll flick water injection on, see what difference that makes. Just on a little rocker switch at the minute, but hopefully before this needs to go, the proper switch has come, and that's going to look like a factory switch then. Let's see, let's get a little log going as well. Keep an eye on what EGTs are doing up for the cooler. Yeah, you can definitely see the extra smoke coming out when you turn the water injection on. But it's not ridiculous. It'd be better if they were none, but can't always have everything. But that's what the water injection is doing. You're basically adding not just water, you've got methanol in there as well, 50% methanol. You're basically adding extra fuel, so if you're already on the edge of fuel, in which this is, it's already got as much fuel as it should have, then it's obviously going to smoke a little bit. So I'm going to change camera, put it on the rear so we can see smoke output. But I'm super happy with how this drives. It absolutely launches like mad. It really aggressive. I can't see why the customer wouldn't be happy with this. This is like night and day difference. Like talking almost 3 seconds quicker to 60 than it was when it was standard. Hopefully this series of videos has been interesting to people. We're probably going to do a summary on this car like a walk around, talking about what we've achieved with it and how much this sort of stuff roughly costs at today's rate. I'm not into hyperinflation yet, but yeah, it's been a good project, and we've got tons of people booking in for these tuning now. So I think these are going to be a big deal for us. So it's worth the effort that we've put in. Probably 300 hours deep in this project. So a lot of time, a lot of effort. It's got to be done right. So thank you for watching.